Are you a solo female RVer, or are you going to be one day and you're in the planning stages? Well, I get letters all the time from solo women especially, but men too, who want to know what are the things I need the most for my new RV life when I'm just starting out. So I'm going to answer that question for you today, and I'm going to share with you the 10 necessities you need to start out as a full-time solo RVer, whether you're a woman or a man. But this is especially for the ladies who write to me. So stay tuned.
There ain't nobody gonna do it for you. Got to find your own.
Hello all you beautiful friendly people, otherwise known as friendlies as I like to call you. My name is Carolyn and I live full-time in an RV. And today I'm going to share with you the 10 things that were essential to me my first year on the road living in an RV. But first I'm going to tell you about something new I have discovered that is an essential for me after 4 years on the road and helping me realize my dream of slowing down, enjoying what's around me, getting away from the computer, and really enjoying life. Today's video is brought to you by Audible, and I'm going to tell you how Audible is making my RV life the life I always dreamed of. But come on inside, we're going to sit down and have a chat. It's too windy out here right now. So let's go inside and have a chat. I want to tell you about a change that I have recently made that has helped me achieve my goal, finally, of really kind of embracing my life and enjoying life away from the computer a little bit more. Really excited to be partnering with Audible audiobooks to bring you today's video. With Audible's unmatched selection of audiobooks, original audio shows, news, comedy, and so much more from leading audiobook publishers, broadcasters, entertainers, magazine and newspaper publishers, and business information providers, I have a whole new world of information and entertainment literally in the palm of my hand. And it's been a really exciting way for me to not have to just be sitting down all the time in order to learn and explore and get entertained. I can listen to an audiobook while I'm cooking, and I love to cook, while I'm outside relaxing, sometimes even when I'm walking. You can literally take an unmatched selection of audiobooks and news broadcasts and entertainment wherever you go. And it's really been very liberating for me, I have to say. So I thought it might help you achieve some of your goals too. What are some of your goals? Maybe you want to learn something new this year. Maybe you're looking for some motivation to achieve your fitness goals, and you can find some motivational titles in fitness to help you do that. Maybe you just want to explore a topic that you've been curious about for a long time. Or maybe you just want to listen to some fun stories as narrated by some of the best storytellers there are in audiobooks. I was really excited to pass this on to you because just for being here with me today on this video, Audible is going to give you 1 free Audible book plus 2 free Audible originals when you try Audible for 30 days. All you have to do is visit audible.com/RVLife or text RVLife to 500-500 to get started today and get your free audiobooks. And let me share with you the title that I have been listening to. Oh my gosh, you guys will love this audiobook. It's called Tales of a Female Nomad. And anybody who watches my channel is going to love this audiobook. It's by Rita Golden Gelman. And get this, she was a 48-year-old woman living in Los Angeles. Her kids were raised, her marriage was falling apart, and she decided to chase her dream and travel the world. And she's a great storyteller. I love listening to her. And she talks about all of the things that she did to overcome her fears of being alone and traveling alone, especially as an older woman when she was surrounded by people half her age. And she really talks about a lot of the real things that I talk about in my videos, about just the emotional, the psychological aspects of how to deal with being alone and reorienting to the world as a 48, 50-year-old woman. And even if you don't have aspirations to travel the world, this is such an inspirational audiobook. There are also so many RV how-to titles on audiobooks. I couldn't believe how many I saw. So if you're also interested in learning more about the RV life, you have so many titles to choose from in learning how to do the RV living thing. And in addition to an unmatched selection of the most popular titles, Audible also has Audible Originals, which are exclusive audio titles created by celebrated storytellers from worlds as diverse as theater, journalism, literature, and so much more. And now, in order to help us achieve our goals and our New Year's resolutions, Audible is issuing a challenge to current and new members. Just finish 3 audiobooks by March 3rd and receive a $20 Amazon credit. It's that simple. Just finish 3 by 3/3 and get $20. How easy is that? And there's nothing to it. Audible will track your progress for you. So are you ready to take the challenge with me? You want to sign up for Audible? Do it now using the link below, and you get your first title free plus 2 free Audible Originals when you try Audible for 30 days. Just make sure you use the link below, audible.com/RVLife, or text RVLife to 500-500 using your phone right now, and you can get started with an unmatched selection of titles, entertainment, news, how-tos. It's just a world of fun and information. Thanks, Audible, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get started with 10 things every new RVer needs their first year on the road. All right, well, the first thing is kind of a no-brainer. Everybody who drives a car needs jumper cables. But the question is, are all jumper cables created equally? And the answer to that is no. If you are living in an RV, something heavy-duty truck-based, the chassis is like a heavy-duty truck, you're going to need a lower gauge jumper cable than if you're in a passenger car. The lower the gauge, they come in like 2 gauge, 4 gauge, 6 gauge, 10 gauge. The lower the gauge, the thicker the cable. And so if you get like a 10 gauge, the cables are going to be too thin. You're not going to get enough power going through the cable to be able to jump your battery. So I have 2 gauge heavy duty truck cables for my RV. If you're going to be in a passenger car or a minivan or even a regular little van, you can probably get away with 4 or 6 gauge jumper cables. They say that 8 gauge should be fine for most passenger vehicles, but I've got a Ford E450 V10. It is a heavy duty truck, and so I opted for the 2 gauge. Okay, but number 1 on the list are jumper cables. Number 2 on the list for necessities for full-time RVing, especially if you're a solo woman, is a lug wrench. And not this thing. This thing. If you are going to be alone in an RV or a car or a van by yourself, and you want to prepare for a flat tire, you need this. Let me get it. Not this. Does anybody know why? Have you ever tried to take a lug nut off a tire with this? I don't know about you, but I have, and I've not been able to get enough leverage on it. This isn't long enough. This isn't long enough. I would have never been able to get enough leverage to loosen a lug nut with this kind of lug wrench. So I went out. This is usually what comes with most vehicles these days. And I went out and bought this. With the X on it, with this going in the lug nut, you can really you've got 2 handles here, so you can really get a lot of leverage. And if you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you need to change a tire by yourself, this is the tool for you. Especially if you're not very strong, if you're kind of small, I don't know, you might be able to use that thing. I can't. So go out and buy this big heavy duty crisscross lug wrench, and it's also got different sizes on it. I mean, they're probably all pretty standard. It's got different sizes on it for different size vehicles, because my lug nuts are not going to be the same size as a minivan. So make sure you know what size your lug nuts are. Get the appropriate lug wrench for that if you're going to go buy one of these. But I think this will pretty much cover everything because it does have the 4 sizes. So go out and get yourself a real lug wrench, not the wimpy thing they give you. That brings me to the 3rd thing on the list that every solo full-time RVer needs, or even not a solo RVer, but especially a solo woman, is a hydraulic jack. So when I first started out, I bought one of those crank jacks, and they give you like this tiny little thing like this big, and it's a scissor jack. That's what it's called, a scissor jack. And it was useless. I couldn't use it. So before I went to Alaska, I went out and I invested in this hydraulic jack. And it's a 12-ton, which now I believe is overboard, right? 12, that's 24,000 pounds. I'm only about 10,000 pounds. So I went a little overboard on that, but this is a 12 ton hydraulic bottle jack. So if I do need to jack up my rig because of a flat tire, so this will do all the work for me, and I don't have to mess with a scissor jack or some other jack that maybe isn't going to lift something so heavy. And this will lift something up like 9 to 18 inches, which is plenty to be able to get your tire off and change a tire if you need to. So that was number 3 on the list, a hydraulic bottle jack. Number 4 on my list of critical things that every full-time RVer needs is really good roadside assistance. Depending on where you go, if you are only going campground to campground, RV park to RV park, a simple AAA membership might be good enough for you. But if you're like me and you like to boondock and go off grid, you might need to do a little extra research to find the right one that'll go off-road. And there aren't many who will go very far off-road, but I currently have Good Sam roadside assistance, and I have Save Our Vehicle through Spot. Spot is a personal GPS device, and I did a whole video about that the time I had to use it, so I'm going to put that link up here. I'm not going to get into too much detail about it because I already did a video, but the 4th thing on the list is really good roadside assistance. I can't tell you how many times I have called roadside assistance, 4, 5 maybe, in the 4 or 5 years that I have been on the road. But as many of you know, my first rig was a big fat lemon. And actually, I've had to call roadside assistance a couple times in my RV as well. I was out in the middle of nowhere in Yukon, and I woke up to 2 flat tires, not 1, but 2. So I had to call roadside assistance, and they were like 4 hours away. I was in the middle of nowhere, and that was Good Sam, and they came and got me. So research, there's AAA, there's Good Sam. Like I said, there's the Spot, Save Our Vehicle. I think I pay a couple $100s a year for that. But again, look at the video. All the information is in the video. And that's number 4 on the list. Roadside assistance. You have to have it. And number 5 on the list is a tire gauge. Everybody needs a good tire gauge because not only is tire health better for gas mileage, but you can also prevent flat tires. You can't always eyeball it. Sometimes I look at my tires and they look like they're kind of getting flat and they might be losing air, but it's better to know for sure. And I do have a couple. They were at 80 pounds a couple weeks ago when I put 80 pounds PSI of air when I put air in them, and I just checked them yesterday because I'm like, they look like they are getting kind of flat, and they're at 70 PSI. So I'm out here boondocking. I know that I have a slow leak, actually 2 in both duals on one side of my RV, and that means that I need to keep an eye on it and I need to go get it fixed pretty soon. So it's a lot of preventing catastrophes or just pains in the butt is just being prepared and knowing what to expect ahead of time. Sometimes stuff is just going to happen and you aren't necessarily going to notice. You're not going to get any notice, and even a tire gauge isn't going to tell you that you've got a nail in your tire and all your air is just going to come out all at once. But as much as you can do to kind of prevent big major things from happening, the better. And just being able to know for sure that your tires have slow leaks in them or that they're healthy is just good for peace of mind. So number 5 on the list is a good tire gauge. Number 6 on the list of things that every new full-time RVer should have is extras of all of your fluids. So I carry, you can see I've got automatic transmission fluid, I've got extra oil, I've got power steering fluid, I think I have some brake fluid around, and my antifreeze and coolant. It's a good idea to have these on hand because you never know when you might discover a leak or you might just have forgotten to do your maintenance. And I did a video about all the things that you need to do to maintain your RV, and it includes checking all of these things. So click up here to check out that video. But maybe you forgot, maybe you got busy, maybe you put more miles under your tires than you expected. You just never know. So I do dip into these things. So it is a good idea to always have extra fluids on hand when you're a full-time RVer. And number 7 on the list of things that every RVer needs is a voltmeter. So this is a fancy one, hand-me-down from a friend. It's a multimeter. Not only does it measure volts, but it does load testing, AC, it's got all kinds of stuff on it. But you really just need, I think, for the purposes of living in an RV and figuring stuff out, especially your first year, you really just need a voltmeter. And what is a voltmeter? Well, it measures the volts in your batteries. So you can use this both on your engine battery. If you ever think that your battery is going dead, all you have to do is hook this up, and it's a 12-volt battery. It should have 12 volts in it when it's resting. If it has less than that, then you've got a problem with your battery. Same with your house battery. If you ever think that your house batteries are wearing out and not performing like they should be, all you have to do is put the voltmeter on it, test the volts of the battery, and again, if it's below 12, then your battery is probably wearing out. You can also test your alternator a little bit, or at least see if your alternator is working on this by just testing the volts on your battery with the engine off, and it should be above 12, and then starting the engine and testing the volts again, and it should be up pretty high, probably above 14 if your alternator is working correctly. So if you want to troubleshoot things on your own, your house batteries, your engine batteries, this is just a really critical tool to have around. The first year, especially when you're trying to figure out your electrical system, you're not really sure how your batteries are performing or how they're supposed to perform, especially your house batteries. I mean, we've all been driving for a while. We all know our engine batteries a little bit better, but our RV, our coach batteries are kind of a big unknown. And it might even be fun to just get a voltmeter and kind of play around with it if you don't have a display inside, if you don't have solar and you don't have a controller and all that stuff set up inside like I didn't when I first bought Matilda. You can kind of play around with it. You can test your voltage on your battery and see what it is, and then you can turn different things on to see how much of a draw they get by just putting these directly on your battery. So it's kind of fun just to play around with and just kind of get to know your electrical system a little bit. That's why this is on the list, because I think it's really important for anybody living in an RV to be able to kind of keep a gauge of the health of your battery. So a voltmeter. And next on the list at number 6 is having nationwide warranties. So when you buy your tires, usually there's major brands, Firestone, you can get tires at Costco, and you want to make sure with anything, any work that you get done on your RV, make sure that if you do get a warranty, and especially if you're paying extra for it, that if you get the warranty, if you get the work done in Tennessee and something goes wrong in Nevada, you're going to be able to find a place to go to honor that warranty to get the work done. I had some major issues with that when I got my transmission work done in California. They said it was a Napa warranty, and then I went down to Yuma a couple months later because I was having problems, and it was just a major fiasco trying to get them to honor the warranty because apparently Napa did not cover transmission or something like that. But you just really want to be careful. And I'm adding this to the list of things that you need because I have learned that as I'm traveling around, while I like to support and promote small business, sometimes in my lifestyle that just doesn't make sense because I need things to transfer. And if I go to a small mom and pop mechanic in, some tiny town in Mississippi and they guarantee the work, well, that's not going to do me any good when I'm 2,000 miles away. So those are just, I'm adding this to the list because it's something to think about. Your warranties, your guarantees, especially if you're paying for them, you need to make sure they will transfer across state lines. You need to make sure when you get work done, if you're going to what you think is a big chain, find out where they are. If you're only going to be traveling in a few states, that makes it easier. But if you're going to be traveling all across the country, that can really make a big difference. So it's just a matter of learning how to choose where you're going to take your RV to get it fixed, where you're going to get brake work done, where you're going to get tires done, and asking questions about guarantees and warranties, not just assuming like I did that they're going to be transferable. But, if you go to a tire company, say, oh, are you in every state? Will you honor it in another state? If I'm in a state that doesn't have your store and something happens, what would I need to do? And I had that recently with a Les Schwab tire. I literally had to carry a Les Schwab tire around in my shower with me for like 6 months until I got back to Les Schwab because they wouldn't just refund my money. Even though it was under warranty, over the phone, I actually had to show them the tire. So it's important to ask the right questions, and I hope that by kind of bringing this to your attention, it'll kind of set the stage for you to be able to know what to ask and what to look for when you're getting work done on your RV or van. And number 9 on the list of things that every full-time RVer needs is a user manual for your rig, both for the chassis and the coach. If you don't have them, if they didn't come with your RV, you can usually find them online and download them onto your computer. It's a really good idea to download them so that you have them in case you're somewhere and you don't have an internet signal. I can't tell you how useful it is to be able to just look something up if I'm not sure how something works, or to see if I have to troubleshoot something. It's just really, really helpful to make sure you have your user manual. And make sure you have that before you head out. And maybe even, flip through it. My rig came with a big fancy portfolio of all of the systems, all of the appliances, the rig, the chassis, everything. And it's really helpful to have on hand. So I highly recommend, if you bought an older rig, whether it's an RV or a van, and you didn't get a user manual, I highly recommend going right now, downloading that user manual so that you have it. It's going to have information that you might even need to give mechanics, about your engine size and capacities. If you're in an RV, it'll tell you your tank capacities, your holding tank capacities. I mean, it's just full of really useful information. So that was number 9 on the list. Be sure to have your user manual. And finally, number 10 on the list are leveling blocks. If you don't have automatic hydraulic levelers on your RV, and this is mostly for RVs, vans need them too, but especially in an RV, it's really important to be as level as possible for the health and longevity of your refrigerator. The refrigerator runs on ammonia, something blah 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 electrical stuff and details, but it's an ammonia based system. The ammonia runs through the system and it needs to be level or it malfunctions. So it's really important for you to have leveling blocks, and yeah, you can see mine get some use. And you probably want to know, which ones do I recommend? Well, you can see behind me, I've got the big yellow block one, and I've got these, which you can see have broken into pieces. I've got these, and basically they all kind of fall apart eventually. But I do think that the yellow, I don't know if you can see behind me, I think that is probably the most durable of all the ones that I have tried. But I will say I like having both, because the reason I changed from that one to this one is because sometimes on that one I can't get as high as I need to get. If I'm really off balance one way, that's not necessarily always going to give me enough lift. So I have been known to lay these down and put that one on top of it in order to get the lift that I need to get. Yeah, I think it's just trial and error. Go out and see what works best for you. I think it's good for me right now to have both on hand. I use them both and use them in different situations, but that is number 10 on the list. It's really important to be able to level your RV, not only for comfort, because you don't want to be walking here, let's do this. You don't want to be walking like this. That's no fun. Or have cupboard doors slam you in the face in the middle of the night because you're at an angle. So it's nice to or to fall out of bed. It's nice to try to get as level as you can, not just for the health of your refrigerator, but for comfort as well. I gave you 11 things that I think every solo RVer should have, especially if you're going to be in your first year and you're not really sure what you need. I think this is a really good starting point. I'm going to do a series, so I'm going to be doing more videos about more things that you're going to need for different circumstances living in an RV, especially if you're a solo female full-time RVer. There are things that, you just have questions about, and because that's what I am, I'm going to answer those questions for you and for everybody else. And I will put links below to everything that you saw in this video. Thanks for hanging with me. I hope you found this helpful. And if you're a full-time RVer and you've been out on the road a while, what are the things that you found you absolutely could not live without your first year on the road? Was there anything I've forgotten? If so, leave the comments below. And everybody who might be new, check out the comments below so that you can add some things to your list. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. In the meantime, be happy, be free, and be kind. Mwah. Bye.